let's study Sutra number 11. What does it say? Anubhūta-viṣaya-asaṃpramoṣaḥ smṛtiḥ. What do the words themselves mean? Anubhūta, experience. Viṣaya, objects. Asaṃpramoṣaḥ, not allowing to escape. Smṛtiḥ, that is memory. Okay? So in Maharishi Ved Vyasa's commentary, what does he say? He says memory is the not stealing away along with objective mental impressions, that is, the reproducing of not more than what has been impressed upon the mind. Not stealing away, asaṃpramoṣaḥ, smṛtiḥ. So, does the question that he raises is, does the mind remember the act of knowing or the object? And the notion colored by the object of the knowledge shows both the object and the act of knowledge, and thus begins the habit of the same kind. So it is both. We both know the object and we know the notion of the object colored by the knowledge. So the habit, he says, manifests as its own cause and thus generates a memory having the same form and consisting of the object and the act of knowledge of it. So when the manifestation of knowledge is first, the modification is of buddhi, intellect. When the appearance of the object is first, the modification is memory. Okay? So when you first bring to mind your knowledge of an object and then the object, the modification is buddhi. When you first bring to mind the object and then come to a knowledge of it, oh, what is this? Then the modification is memory, smṛti. Memory is twofold. When the phenomenon to be remembered is the very nature of mind, and when it has not become the very nature of mind. When it is the very nature of mind, that is when it is coming from the subconscious or the preconscious, it is dream. And when it is not yet the nature of the mind, but it is available to you in the waking state, that is memory. All memories are born in sequence of real cognition, unreal cognition, imagination, sleep, and memory. So, as you can see, all the previous four feed into memory. You have memory of real cognition, you have memory of unreal cognition, you have memory of imagination, you have memory of in sleep, and then you have memory. So all modifications are of the nature of pain, pleasure, and illusion. And he will explain more of that in the future sutras. For now, what you have to remember is attachment is sticking to pleasure, aversion is sticking to pain, and illusion is nescience, which is the absence of knowledge. So all of these modifications, Patanjali says, have to be checked. So what does Swami Satyananda say? He says not letting the experienced objects escape from the mind is memory. Now it is the fifth vritti. It is of two kinds, conscious memory and subconscious memory. Conscious memory is the recollection of things already experienced. So we are recalling past experiences. Subconscious memory is a dream. Here we may not consciously remember having experienced it, but we remember it unconsciously because it has emerged in the dream. Now memory is of two kinds. It is imaginary and it is real. Now in dreams, sometimes we have, really fantastic images which are impossible to have experienced in real life. They are not pertinent, or relevant to our everyday life. Like if I talk to an octopus, right, that's blue and living in my neighborhood, it probably does not exist in reality. So it is unreal. So this is an imaginary subconscious memory. However, Swami Satyananda says even dream has some basis. So you may not remember the basis. Maybe when I was 4 months old, I saw a cartoon on TV in which there's a talking blue octopus living in the neighborhood. I don't know, maybe I don't remember it. But typically dream, that is the imaginary subconscious memory, has some basis. You may not remember the basis. No dream is baseless. In real subconscious memory, one remembers real events of the past without a distortion of facts. And this memory, which brings out the preconscious and unfolds them on the conscious plane, is one of the faculties of our consciousness. memory is of two kinds, imaginary and real, right? So the objects of experience are of five kinds and perceived through the ears, eyes, nose, skin, tongue. When we experience these objects, our mind comes into contact with the indriyas, the sense objects. When next there is a similar contact, the memory of the past experience arises, and if the experience has not been allowed to escape the mind, if the experience has been allowed to escape the mind, then the memory fails. If the memory arises correctly, then we are able to connect, we are able to reiterate our knowledge. So Patanjali uses the word asaṃpramoṣaḥ to emphasize not letting the experience escape the mind. This is not explained by any of the gurus, but something I wanted to add is when the Buddha first attains enlightenment, right? The first thing he remembers are all his thousands of previous births, and he spends maybe a couple of hours, it says in the sutras, that all he experiences the memory of all his previous births. And that is something that is common to both Buddhism and Hinduism, where we say the ignorance is forgetting. It comes in forgetting that you were once a bug, you were once a sparrow, you were once a leaf on a tree, you were once an animal, you were once a different kind of a human being. And because of these layers of separation that are caused by ignorance and forgetting, we think the present moment is, who we are and how we are is all there is, and this is our reality. So memory is actually very, very important to remembering who we are and where we come from. That is the whole point of this whole exercise, right? To remember that we are the original Purusha, and we have this proximity to the divine in yoga and Sankhya philosophy. So Swami Satyananda says the first vritti summarizes the five vrittis. The first vritti is right knowledge, second is wrong knowledge, third is imaginary knowledge, the fourth is no knowledge, and the last one is past knowledge. So this covers the entire field of consciousness. Swami Vivekananda says memory is when the vrittis of perceived objects do not slip away and through impressions come back to consciousness. And he says memory can be caused by the previous three vrittis. When a ripple, basically he says it's like a ripple in the lake, which is a vritti, and when a ripple causes a series of ripples, that is memory. So when the vritti is sleep, the ripples cause dream, and dream in the waking state is memory. BKS Iyengar, he says that memory is the unmodified recollection of words and experiences. It is the modification of consciousness that allows us to recapture past experiences, and it is a collection of modifications and impressions through correct knowledge, wrong knowledge, illusory knowledge, sleep, the previous four vrittis. And he says as perception changes, our memory may alter, but correctly used, it enables us to recall experiences in their true pristine state. This ability, he says, is the foundation of the practice of discrimination, viveka, because we are able to verify through the use of memory. Have I met you before? Oh yes, I know your name. I remember. I've seen you at such and such a place. This gives us the practice of discrimination. Yes, I was supposed to give you the package. Let me not give it to the wrong person. Right? Because I remember you. I remember your name. So the five properties of consciousness can be equated with the five fluctuations of consciousness. Dullness with nidra, negligence with viparyaya, agitation with vikalpa, one-pointedness with smṛtiḥ, and restraint or control with pramana, which is right knowledge. Smṛtiḥ, memory, ekagra, one-pointedness. Agitation with vikalpa, negligence with viparyaya. Vikalpa is imagination, viparyaya is mistaken knowledge, and dullness with nidra, that is sleep. Osho says memory is the calling up of past experiences. Memory is continuously happening. When you see something, immediately memory comes in and distorts it. It becomes like this filter. So you meet me now and you have a memory of what I look like or what I spoke like 5 years ago. So when you're watching, that memory comes up and you're watching through the lens of that memory. Okay, and you make a comparison, and he says this past memory has to be dropped. It should not be a constant interference in your knowing. You always know an old pattern and it doesn't allow you to feel the new. This is a little bit like the Zen concept of beginner's mind. If you come to the moment fresh, then you don't have the lag of the past. You don't have a filter between yourself and new learning, right? This is something that happens in yoga also. We go to the mat today, and let's say I've had problem with an asana yesterday. I come to the mat bringing the memory of that difficulty, and I'm already obstructing my progress into that asana. The moment I am able to drop that the memory of my past performance, and I come in and say, oh, this is a completely new asana, then you're not pushing your body into the same old postures, right? So Osho says that dropping doesn't mean you cease to remember. It means that you drop the constant interference. The past is continuously present, and if the past is continuously present, it does not allow the present to be present. And if you miss the present, you've missed everything. Barbara Stoller Miller says memory is the recollection of objects one has experienced. And memory, she says, is very basic to Patanjali's epistemology. He says that no thought is ever lost. It is preserved as a subliminal impression or memory trace, and these allow us not only to remember past events and perceptions but also actively shape future experiences in a never-ending process. Like they say, if you don't remember where you've come from, you don't know where you're going. Thank you for listening. Please do remember to subscribe. Many of you are not subscribed to the channel even though you listen, so do click that button at the bottom. Thank you. Come back tomorrow for Sutra number 12.